Yes.
Pyrex and microwave in
I'm
the
out
whip.
here,
You
you
probably
heard?
think I'm baking cake when I'm working the whip. You probably think it's Pyrex.
Whole lot of shots followed after I bust your snot box. Witness a rock bottle. Shoot the fair one, mono the clown. I pull it.
Welcome to Senior Basketball Analyst. Today we're going over the Indiana Pacers at Chicago Bulls game. The Bulls edge the Pacers by one. Jimmy Butler blocks the game-winning fadeaway jump shot from the high post by Paul George. Paul, if you hadn't seen it, Paul George gets the inbounds, drives to his right, kind of curls in just inside the elbow, tries to shoot a fadeaway. Jimmy Butler blocked it. He may have hit him on the hand. Usually in a situation like that, the referees are not going to call a foul. I couldn't tell if Paul George was irritated that he got his shot blocked or that he felt like he was fouled. But regardless, there was no call, so Jimmy Butler just did how he always does. He just walked away, and the Bulls secure the victory. The Jimmy Butler Paul George matchup is always very intriguing, always worth the price of admission. These are two great players. They really are, both of them. Great players. You hear the two-way thing all the time. Again, we call that around here just basketball, playing both ends, guarding your man tough, being able to score. But two, really, to me, prototypical wings, guys that can both play within a system and run a set, catch and shoot, can post up, and can also go one-on-one in an ISO, finish on the break, and guard their man in all kinds of different scenarios, can both guard either wing position, sometimes moving down to the point guard and guard point guards. So both of these players are always fun for me to watch. So I was very excited about this game, and their matchup did not disappoint. Paul George going for 26 points, Jimmy Butler going for 17 points on 6 of 12 shooting. Both very, very nice games. Jimmy threw in 2 steals and a block like he's known to do. So these are both two guys that you just love to watch. Again, both tough defenders, all of that. So that was a great matchup to watch. Derrick Rose being very aggressive, out there getting it in. Derrick was fantastic. He had the bank shot working, and Derrick is going to shoot better and better as his vision clears up. And, I didn't realize how bad his vision was because apparently he's going to have double vision for a while now. So this was a serious injury to his eye. Derrick, again, the bank shot was working. He was being very, very aggressive. What do we mean by, I know that's a thing that's become kind of cliche. What do we mean by aggressive? He was driving hard and either finishing at the rim or stopping and shooting that pull-up. Very similar to Dwayne Wade, where when he's on that wing, he can drive in, stop on a dime, and then bank it in with that flat bank shot. That's what Derrick Rose was doing. Very aggressive. He was giving Monte fits. Now, the problem came in, and the Aaron Brooks, for whatever reason, and I didn't see if he was injured before the game, and that's why he didn't play. He was listed as a DNP coach's decision, but so was everybody. So, including, Portis and Bairstow were both listed that way. So they kind of all just got listed as no decision. I'm not sure if Brooks was hurt, but Brooks didn't play. So we ended up seeing Kirk Hinrich, and the Kirk Hinrich thing just has to stop. It has to stop. Kirk Hinrich, if the Bulls had lost this game, a lot of it would have been on him because Derrick was dominating that Monte Ellis matchup. He was playing, it was a rare case where Derrick was playing very good defense. He had Monte completely bottled up. And what we have to recognize is Pacers do not use Monte very well. We saw last year how effective and how efficient Monte Ellis can be when he's in consistent pick and roll situations. For whatever reason, the Pacers do not give him that kind of freedom. He's a lot of times just kind of standing there waiting for Paul George to kick in the ball. It's a weird way to use him. Tonight he started at point guard, and Derrick Rose was tearing him apart. When Derrick Rose had to sit, and then when he left the game for good, man, it was Monte Ellis time. And Monte Ellis ended up having a really nice shooting game. He ended up having a pretty good shooting game. He ended up being 9 of 20, which isn't bad at all. And he hit a couple free throws, so he ended up with his 20. The other thing about Hinrich, given that he can't really guard anybody anymore, because, a combo guard is the guy he's supposed to be guarding, like Monte Ellis. The other thing, though, is he can't shoot. He can't shoot. Now, on the season, he hasn't played much this season, but on the season, he's not shooting poorly. He's shooting 44%, 50% from the arc, which is both the 50% from the arc is great, but it's a very small sample size. As a Bull in the larger sample size, 2012, 2013, 38%. 2013, 2014, 39%. 2014, 2015, 37%. This is a guy that's getting, 8, 9, 6 a game. He can't play anymore. And here's the thing. You want to pay him, keep him on fine, pay him, put him in a suit. But he shouldn't be on the court. It's when every time he comes into the game, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not going to end well. And it never does. He's out there and just getting worked over. So that was unfortunate that they went to that strategy. Just to quickly go over the things that are more importantly that aren't going well. Pau Gasol had one of those games where he wasn't concentrating. He had his one turnover was a really ridiculous turnover, that one of those where he throws just a lazy pass and the defender just runs off with it and dunks the ball. He was being very, in this case was Monte Ellis. He was just, he's 211 from the field. Your center can't be 2 of 11. That's pretty simple, right? He's supposed to be shooting right around the basket. He can't be 2 of 11. Mirotic is in a slump, man. Mirotic doesn't look good. And the thing about Mirotic that we have to understand and we have to stay with, being good means being consistently good. And Mirotic isn't there yet. It's difficult to come out and be consistent. Like, when you see a guy and he's getting, 12 and 8, right? Getting 12 and 8 consistently, like saying, okay, this guy's going to be, anywhere from 10 to 15 points every night and anywhere from 7 to 12 rebounds, something like that. That's not easy. That's a solid NBA player. And part of being a good piece is for me to consistently know what I'm going to give you. A lot of Nikola Mirotic's game is at this point bum slaying. When Mirotic has a favorable matchup, he kills the guy. When he doesn't have a favorable matchup, he can go into these slumps. And tonight wasn't particularly rough on him at all. The front court of the Indiana Pacers is an enormous weakness for them. I mean, just take it, Chase Budinger started for them 0 points in 18 minutes. So there you have, that tells you everything you need to know about this team's front court. But Mirotic, ever since he saw Serge Ibaka, he's been having a lot of problems. And Serge Ibaka being, an all-star caliber power forward, one of the best defensive power forwards in this league, a mobile, athletic player, he can chase him all the way out to the wing, and Mirotic can't just blow past him with his, he has marginal ball handling skills where if it's a particularly slow-footed big man, he can just blow past him. But if it's a guy like Ibaka that can move his feet, he can't. So Ibaka can chase him off the line and then beat him to the rim. So Mirotic, and we know he has no post game. So in a case like that, it's very difficult for him to get his shot off. And when he doesn't get his shot off, then the rest of his game, which is obviously weaker, just fades into the background and he really struggles. Mirotic has some work to do. The base is there though. Mirotic is one of those players, like a lot of young players. His ceiling is whatever he really wants it to be. If Mirotic wants to go and work on his body and get stronger and, work on his quickness, work on his ball handling, work on having a go-to post move when you have an advantage, work on being able to score out of the high post with a myriad of moves. If he wants to work on those things, he can have a Pau Gasol type career, but he has to do that though. And right now he's just not consistent. He's not consistent, but again, he can get there. It's just going to take some time. Tony Snell and Doug McDermott are mirror images of each other. It's very interesting. When Tony Snell catches the ball, he sometimes does like this. Or he catches, and instead of just shooting, he looks at it first, then shoots. Instead of just catching and driving, he looks at his man, then he drives. He's shell-shocked offensively. And I don't know if if this is a holdover from Tom Thibodeau, same for Doug McDermott on defense, or if this is just the way their personalities are. But Snell, as good defensively as he can be, he's equally skittish and weird offensively. And McDermott, again, the exact opposite. Flip it around. McDermott is letting that jump shot fly. He's having a fantastic season from a shooting perspective. But defensively, he gets the skittish feet. And I was glad Stacey King brought it up. Basketball is a one-on-one combative game. It is a very, there's a lot of bravado involved in the one-on-one aspects of the game. When an NBA, especially an NBA player, sees that sees weakness and sees that you're kind of shuffling your feet in place for no reason when you're trying to defend, guys are going to attack you. And I was glad Stacey King didn't bring it up last game, but he brought it up a couple games ago. He said, man, Doug has to stop shuffling his feet like that. Like, he looks like he's concerned that he's not going to be able to stay in front of his man. And that's exactly what he is. And again, he and Snell are just, Fred Hoiberg is just picking and choosing with them. Do I want to go defense or offense, depending on who's starting? He's starting whatever. That's how you can tell what direction he felt like going that day. I went Snell for defense today. Tomorrow I went offense with McDermott. The Bulls, it'd be nice, man. Guys, stop trying to cobble together a player out of two players. They're doing the same. They're doing this all through their front court, 3, 4, and 5. They're doing it at all positions. It's like, oh, well, I wanted to go defense. We go to the defensive lineup. Well, we just put Taj and Noah in at the same time. And then when they go offense, they go Pau Gasol and Nikola Mirotic. We already talked about Snell and McDermott. It'd be nice if you had just complete players that you just played, like Jimmy Butler. You just play the guy, right? This is the starter. He's the best player at this position. That would be nice. The Indiana Pacers are in a state of flux. They're not anywhere near where the Bulls are. They're doing okay. They're 6-5. They have a shot at the playoffs just like anybody else, but they're not going to make any noise. The Bulls are obviously, they kind of got one eye on trying to get to the finals. They're not really a title contender, but they have to kind of be feeling that way, right? They have to kind of be playing toward that. So the Bulls, it's good to see them go in a team that they should beat. They went out, took care of business. They got the W. It's good to see them do that. The Pacers just, again, they're in a state of flux. They need to work on their roster. Glenn Robinson the third, the big dog's son, Glenn Robinson the second. He didn't play well today, or play well yesterday, and it bugged me because I was looking forward to seeing him, and I wanted to see him play well because I've seen the highlights of when he plays well, and I wanted to see him play well. It's crazy how much he looks like his dad. Like, Stephen Curry and Seth Curry, they look sort of like Dell. They look like Dell, like anybody looks like their dad. Glenn Robinson III looks like he looks just like Glenn Robinson II. It's spooky how much they look like. But I wish he had played better. But those are my thoughts. It wasn't a particularly exciting or compelling game, but I did enjoy the Jimmy Butler Paul George matchup, and it was good to see Derrick Rose play well. He sprained his ankle, but the reports are that he's gonna play through it. It's no big deal. He left the game and didn't return, but he's gonna play through it. It's nothing. It's the same way when anybody else rolls their ankle. It's no big deal. So the Bulls top the Pacers at home, 96-95. You know what you're supposed to be doing, man. You gotta go see SeniorBasketballAnalyst.com. We have all of the news. Do me a solid and do yourself a favor. Search your favorite player on SeniorBasketballAnalyst.com. All kinds of highlights and articles are gonna come up. It's all there. Great stuff. Follow us at SBA4String. You know the hashtag SBA4. And you know that.
Oh yes, Sean Carter is nice, but Sean Price is the best. Sean gone, no Sean Dawn. Sean is a dawn I don't